Afternoon from Cambodia, and welcome. My name is David Moons, and I'm delighted to welcome you to what I believe will be a timely and I hope useful webinar. Before we begin, there's a couple honorable mentions I'd like to bring up. This webinar was created with the kind support of Secret Retreats, a curated collection of authentic luxury and boutique properties across Asia. Secondly, this webinar was also created with the support of OBPR, the communications agency of Chat, led by Olivia Burton and dedicated to thoughtful, story-driven public relations. In today's webinar, we explore a simple idea. The future of travel is not only about comfort or escape. It is about how destinations can actively restore the places, cultures, and ecosystems that make them meaningful in the first place. This webinar is built around a model in which art, marine conservation, and community development are not side programs or CSR add-ons, but are embedded directly into the guest experience and into the DNA of a hospitality destination. We are especially pleased to share a living case study from KEP, Cambodia, where this vision has been developed over more than 2 decades through Chat and the wider KEP West ecosystem. What you'll hear today is not just a concept, but a framework grounded in practice, partnerships, certification, and long-term commitment. So, it is now my real pleasure to introduce our speaker, Jeff Moons, whose work sits at the intersection of hospitality, placemaking, cultural development, and long-term coastal regeneration. A little bit of a background, Jeff Moons is the founder of Chat, KEP West, and Art for KEP, and with more than 2 decades of work dedicated to shaping a new vision for coastal hospitality in Cambodia. Through his leadership, Chat has become a living example of regenerative hospitality, supported by Green Growth 2050 Platinum certification, partnerships like Marine Conservation Cambodia, and cultural initiatives such as Art for KEP, which will host more than 100 artists in 2026. Jeff's works also include the development of the Sea Ocean Gallery and a wider vision for KEP as a destination where environmental restoration, culture programming, and local opportunity are mutually reinforcing. What makes Jeff's perspective especially valuable today is that he speaks not from theory alone, but from lived practice. His work offers a concrete example of how a destination can weave together art, ocean restoration, and community development into a coherent and replicable framework for regenerative travel. So now, I'll be switching to the channel and be introducing you to our speaker, Mr. Jeff Moons.
Thank you, David. And to all our participants, it's a real pleasure to be here with all of you today. For more than 2 decades at Chat and with the wider KEP West and Art for KEP vision, I've been exploring how a seaside destination can offer real authentic luxury while also regenerating the place that hosts us. In this conversation, I'd like to share a 3-pillar framework that has emerged from that work. It brings contemporary art, marine conservation, and community development into the heart of the guest journey, and this instead of treating them as separate CSR projects. My own shift has been from asking, how do we do less harm, to asking, how do we actively restore what has been lost, ecologically and culturally? Since 2003, Chat has been a small sanctuary on coastal Cambodia, a place where time slows down and where nature quietly takes the lead. What I see today is that travelers are less interested in the glitter of excess and far more focused on meaning, connection, and a sense of renewal. The new luxury is called authentic luxury, one that restores the soul, respects local heritage, and rebuilds our relationship with the world around us. At Chat, we live this idea in a very small way. Just 18 rooms and a handful of restored modernistic villas by the sea, where simplicity, space, and science give people room to breathe again. Sustainability asks, how do we minimize harm? Regeneration asks, how do we actively restore what's been lost? Knijp holds Green Growth Platinum certification, scoring 90.5%, and this across 480 KPIs. Today, we have reached the highest standard of sustainable hospitality. We don't just want to be measured on how sustainability, but also on regenerative our communities are. Let me give you a small example of how our guests help us regenerate our region. For every international booking, we are planting 10 mangrove seedlings along Kep's coastline. These young mangroves rebuild vital nurseries for fish and strengthen our natural protection against storms. Over its 25 years of growth, each tree will offset around 308 kilograms of CO2. So your 10 trees will offset more than 7.7 tons of CO2 while restoring critical coastal habitat. It's a simple and a measurable way on how our guests help restore our coastal restoration. I'd like to introduce the 3 pillars that holds the whole model. Art, ocean, community. Think of them less as projects and more as 3 currents that shape everything we do. First, art. Artists come to live and work by the sea, translating local culture, our landscape, and memory into a contemporary expression. Guests do not simply view art, they encounter artists, witness the creative process, and experience the destination through a different lens. Second, ocean restoration. In partnership with Marine Conservation Cambodia, we have chosen to move beyond minimizing impact and towards actively healing marine ecosystems. Today, we support coral restoration and anti-trawling reef structures in Kep's marine fishery and management area. We are now working towards a new protected area of 12,000 hectares, and this will have great impact again. This will give our guests clearer waters, richer snorkeling, and the chance to engage in measurable ocean renewal. Third, our communities. This is where the model becomes rooted in real life. Our work includes co-created art installations, partnerships with Cambodian International Film Festival, skills training, and local economic circulation. It is not a cosmetic CRR layer. It is part of our operating DNA. This year, through Art for Kep, we will welcome more than 100 Cambodian and international artists. Some stay for month-long residencies, others for shorter periods. Hosted in a purpose-built studio along the resort, artists work with complete creative freedom, inspired by Khmer culture, the coast, and local stories. They create contemporary paintings, sculptures, film performances, and installations. The program ends with open studios, artist talks, an exhibition, and guests and locals meet and mix in these events. Through partners like the Cambodian International Film Festival and the Sacha Handicraft Incubator, this work reaches wider audiences. Also visiting curators and collectors, discovering emerging voices they might never find elsewhere. Art for Kep is, in this way, cultural regeneration made concrete. How art changes a hotel first. Our static resort spaces start to behave like a living cultural hub with rotating exhibition, artist talks, performances, and workshops. There is always something happening. This gives people new reason to visit and also real reason to come back. Second, the travelers are no longer just enjoying a resort. They are collecting authentic stories through encounters with working artists. Their stay shift from a nice beach holiday to a cultural experience. They are sincerely proud to talk about and share. Third, they begin to live those only here moments that you cannot copy anywhere else. They might have breakfast with a sculpture, join an intimate gallery opening, take part in a community art project, or watch a film or installation come to life in real time. This is differentiation at its finest. It creates an emotional bond and a level of loyalty that goes far beyond price. How art becomes a living reef, the Southeast Asian Ocean Gallery is one of the projects I'm most excited about. It's a 10-year, multiple million-dollar initiative launching in 2026, and that brings together international auction houses, curators, and visionary architects to create what will be Southeast Asia's first permanent underwater art space, fully integrated with large-scale coral restoration. Art first. All of the art sculptures begin their life on land. They are first exhibited on shore, where guests, schools, and local communities can encounter the works and the stories behind them, and the science that underpins the project. Only after this one, they are transported to the sea. In this way, the artist and educational dimension of the Ocean Gallery remains accessible to everybody, not only to those who dive or snorkel. Once in the water, these 3D printed artworks also act as reef structures. Over time, coral, fish, and algae gradually transform each piece into a living installation where art and ocean grow together. When guests visit Marine Conservation Cambodia with us, we offer them an unscripted and real experience rather than a commercial excursion. They sit alongside people who spend their days in water, rebuilding reefs and planting mangroves. Just call it deeply authentic and educational. Also, our island trips are not about ticking off another snorkeling spot. They are a way to see this part of the Gulf of Thailand with fresh eyes, while marine biologists explain what is happening under the surface right now, where the sea is hurting and where it is starting to heal. Very important. Some guests choose to go out with local fishermen. They see how careful fishing keeps both the sea and families in Kep alive. And those conversations often stay with them longer than any sunset. And yes, in the evenings, we slow down with good food and fine wines. Call it time to reflect and to share your stories. Know that all land and sea excursions are curated by our in-house Discovery Center with safety first and elevated F&B. When I look at Kep today, I don't just see a quiet fishing town anymore. I see a small, creative destination slowly taking shape, step by step, through intentional development. With Kep West, we go far beyond the resort. We have a discovery center, a wellness hub, and spaces for film festivals, exhibitions, and art markets. We also run Knai Ban Chat like a hospitality school, where young people gain new skills. Building up this human capital is, for me, the core of any regenerative model. Many of our projects are also co-created. We invite local artists for residencies. We work with fishermen and train craftspeople through our programs. Instead of letting value escape, we make sure it stays and grows here in Kep. That's very important. This model really works, and only because it makes business sense. In a crowded market, it helps you stand out. When what you do is real, people feel it. They see it on the ground, they see the international standards behind it, they know right away this isn't marketing talk. Regeneration also creates its own visibility. Projects like Art for Kep, the Ocean Gallery, and our cultural partnerships attract media and attention naturally. It also drives loyalty. Guests may stay longer, return more often, and talk about Kep because they feel part of something meaningful. I always tell my friends, if possible, stay with us 3 nights, and we'll turn a stay into a great journey. From there, the ecosystem grows. Events, collaborations, curated journeys, potential new investors. Regeneration isn't a luxury or a slogan. It is smart business. Building stronger brands, more resilient destinations, and long-term value from everyone involved. So let me finish with something very practical. How to start your journey. Replicating this kind of model doesn't begin with massive capital. It begins with clarity. First, map what you have already. Look at the culture around you, the ecosystems, the artisans, the NGOs, the community partners that are already there. Very often, the ingredients are present, but they just haven't been connected yet. Second, choose your pillars based on your own landscape. A coastal property like Knijp might work with art, ocean, and community. But a mountain lodge could focus on art, forest, and indigenous culture. Maybe a city hotel might combine art, heritage, and social enterprise. The formula is adaptable. It is not meant to be a copy-paste. Thirdly, make your impact visible and engaging. Design stays where guests are not customers, but where they can become contributors. Very important. That changes the relationship completely. So why not join us today? I shared Art Ocean Community, our blueprint for regenerative travel, showing how a coastal place can use art, the sea, and community to reinvent hospitality, to travel agencies. Let's create journeys for your guests that truly stands out while keeping all comfort and pleasures of a high-end stay. To hotel owners and developers, come and visit us and feel how regeneration shows up in guest satisfaction and in the spirit of the place. Regenerative travel is not about giving things up. It's about travel that gives back and leaves a better place. My invitation to you is simple. Come and experience it. And then ask how this could take shape in your own destination. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jeff Moons, for this inspiring and very concrete journey through art, ocean, and community. What I find powerful in what you've shared with us today is that this is not only about theory, but also a living prototype. You've shown us that a coastal resort can behave like a cultural institution, a marine field station, and a community partner, and still deliver strong hospitality and business results. It's a refreshing answer to the usual green conversation. So thank you, Mr. Jeff, for opening up Knijp and Kep West as a real case study, and for reminding us that regeneration is not a slogan, but a daily practice. To wrap up this final webinar, we'd now like to begin and open our Q&A session. During this session, Please feel free to ask any questions or inquiries you'd like to have for us in the chat, and I, the moderator myself, will ask these questions to Mr. Jeff. So please hold on and allow us 2 minutes for us to switch to our live Q&A session. See you shortly again.
Cambodia's coastal waters are witnessing an ecological unraveling.
Unregulated fishing has pushed Cambodia's fisheries to the brink of collapse.
Illegal bottom trawling, one of the most destructive fishing methods in the world.
From entangled dolphins and dugongs to seahorses pulled from the seabed.
But wiping out endangered marine species and critical habitats.
It's a bold idea because if we don't protect our assets, Kep is lost.
ការនេសាទមានបញ្ហាធំគឺឥឡូវយើងវាហូរអត់បានដូចពីមុន
You don't need to be a scientist to protect what you love.
And in our case, we had to find a solution to this widespread destructive technique.
Now we are creating 10,000 hectares extra of marine management and fishery areas, protected zone. And with that canvas, we really have the fertile ground to change the ocean and create with the art a new ecosystem. The Southeast Asian Ocean Gallery is a very ambitious idea, bringing the world art to Kep's oceans.
For now, I'm going to do a painting that represents me and also the ocean itself.
To respect the culture and the beauty of our region, if we can protect part of our oceans for the next generation.
Like to be like Olympic players as a volleyball player or a sailor.
Okay, the Southeast Asian Ocean Gallery has received since this week the green light and the approval in principle within a new 10 or 12,000 hectare marine and management fishery areas. We will have 1.5 hectare of sea area where we will install an ocean gallery where art is first. So we are now in the stage with the approval. We are now with Art for Kep broadening our board members to international level. We hope to have international museums, international art curators. We're thinking about M+ Museum, Sotheby's, or big whales like this, they have to join us. And then in December, we have our first art week. And in December, I will have translated a first art piece of an international artist, translated in 3D format, which remains art. So we are not going to 3D print ocean sculptures. It needs to remain art that can be curated, that can be viewed and respected on global level. And this will give Kep over the next 10 years a really new asset for high-end sustainable cultural tourism to let them discover a new region. We will go very fast this year. We have in 2 weeks new board members. I will release new budgets for the Southeast Asian Ocean Gallery, and we are on the spot, now that we have approval in principle, to let grow CAP as a really, really cultural and artistic destination. Thank you, David.
Very interesting, thank you. Actually, while you're answering, Mr. Jeff, I'm just looking at admin panel. So we do have 3 new questions rolling in. So I will go through one by one. The first question is from Mr. Seth. So he mentioned, looking back at this year compared to last year, what key differences stood out to you and what lessons have you taken from those changes?
Living in CAP over the last 2 decades, I had to re-event myself already multiple times. The big difference this year is that art is completely integrated in the experience of our travelers. And I will explain this with an example, because for me, living with the artists is the most exceptional translation of local culture. Can you imagine that all my international artists, they come with the artist residency programs, stay for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. They connect for painting, for dance, for creating music, for making movies. We connect them to the people in the mangroves, the people in the salt fields, with our local fishermen. So our local Cambodian culture is today in CAP and with CAP West, Knai Bang Chat and Art for CAP, translated to the eyes of the international artists. This is an incredible change for a hotel. And I think this is the biggest change for me this year.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jeff. So, Seth, I hope that answered your question. Many of us still send clients to the islands of Sinakville as a default coastal escape. Even though they are increasingly shaped by mass tourism and speculative development, from your perspective, what makes CAP a fundamentally different option for discerning travelers?
Oh, yes.
Great question, Mr. Michael.
Most people, also the professionals in the travel world, we go for the easy path. We book a room, we have a spa, we have an excursion, and we have a beach. That's not CAP. So people, if they travel 10,000 miles, for me, we first have to see the temples, the 9th and the 13th century of the Cambodian history, and then bringing them to CAP is regeneration, finding your best self, communicating with the locals, be inspired by local culture. And we only have 18 rooms, we are very private, and we have the advantage to be the closest beach destination. We also have the advantage that we are on land, on the beach. So my island excursions are not to commercialized island, but to the authentic Cambodia of today, where you meet a real fisherman and where you see which impact we make. Also a visit to Marine Conservation Cambodia, where you will visit the marine biologist and where you will hear the stories of what is working well and what is not working well, and how we try to make change in CAP. I think this is the difference between CAP and Sihanoukville. Sihanoukville is easy, go to the islands, beautiful resorts, a good spa, a pool, a beach, but a cultural coaster, deeper connection. We call it regenerative travel. It's CAP, it's with Knai Bang Chat.
We just got another question from Mr. Michael again. So he said, I'd like to plan an itinerary including Siem Reap, Phnom Penh, and CAP. And when considering a luxury beach stay on the Cambodian coast, why should I choose Knai Bang Chat?
Well, because we're not a hotel, we are a destination where we welcome artists. So for you, Michael, your place is in CAP. You were with us for several weeks. you loved the architecture, you loved all our staff, how we engaged with the artists, and this makes it a really authentic stay. And this is also, it's not about the glitter anymore, it's about authentic luxury, a deeper connection to a coastal region. And that's that is the reason why you will choose Kep again.
We have another question from the first question from one of the beach villas. It mentioned, what are the most effective ways to educate and involve local communities in regenerative practices so that the philosophy extends beyond a single resort? So I guess in this sense is, what can we do to effectively communicate and spread and educate and engage with local communities in the practices that you do in regenerative travel?
Okay, I think this is the aim of regenerative travel, make positive impact with community members. So, for instance, I have artists who will come for several months and they hire local community members to work on art. So those community members will be educated by an international mindset in a creative way to enhance and protect our local culture. I think this is great. Another thing where what is great is we work a lot with hospitality training schools, Paul du Brul, Spoons, and 1, 2, 3 Extras. And afterwards, all those students, they come and do their internships with us. This is also, again, making positive impact on local Cambodian people. Then with the Ocean Gallery, which will be a multi-million-dollar investment, the aim is to make positive impact and create income generation for 300-400 families. And all those chapters that we do is for the region. And if the people in Kep can grow, Knai Ban Chat, Kep West, Art for Kep will grow too. And we will have respect for the communities and respect from national and provincial. And in this way, we create a positive environment for all. And this is regenerative travel at its best.
Did working on this project change how you see the ocean or nature in general? I think it's a more personal question to you.
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely. So, you see, in Cambodia, investments are very often made very fast without knowing the consequences of what will happen afterwards. This is how Sihanoukville was completely built with no soul. Yes, I love Kep. I want to stay in Kep. I know the people in Kep. And I have a long-term vision. And with this regenerative travel template, I know that if I want to invest millions and millions and millions in commercial development, I first need to protect the assets in Kep. And the assets is not only the national park, but it's also the mangroves, it's also the oceans and its islands. And this chapter, I really love this question, because over time I changed, because without protecting our own assets, nobody will have a better future in Kep. Thank you for this question.
Thank you, David Martini, for the question. I think that is the last question, perhaps from our viewers here. I think it's safe to say now, thank you to everybody. I'm pretty sure we had some participants from all over the world as well. We had a great number of attendees. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you very much, Mr. Jeff Moons, for your lovely presentation on the projects, and of course your questions, your answers to the questions as well. I think it is safe now to conclude our today.
Okay,
See you soon.
Thank you.